Shawn. Welcome to episode 2 of Levity and Leverage.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, who was your little friend there?
That's Lucy.
Lucy?
She's freaking out because both me and Kate are home all the time now.
Hey, let's start off Levity and Leverage, where we just want to get to know you as a community leader, as a worship leader, as a pastor at Believers Fellowship. We want to get to know you a little bit more. What's fun, sometimes fun, levity side, but we also want to leverage this opportunity that we have while we're sheltering in place to maybe build some new habits and grow in our faith. So we want to hear a little bit about that as well. But let's start off getting to know you a little bit. So you have Lucy there. Does that mean you're a dog person or a cat person?
Dog person. I think I identify with cats more, but we're a dog family.
Yeah. Do you have dogs and cats in the house?
We have one cat, and she's the worst. Yeah. Her name's Yubi, and she has 7 toes on each paw, so they look like boxing mitts. She's got this, she can grab ledges and stuff. She can use them.
Opposable thumbs.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, you can probably teach her how to open doors and stuff. She's the worst.
If you could train cats, if only.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So you've been home more these last few weeks rather. You've obviously been cooking. What is your favorite thing to cook right now?
Right now, steak, dude. I'm still, I did that carnivore diet a little while ago where you just eat meat. Lots of meat, lots of chicken. Just finding really, probably unhealthy, amounts of butter and stuff, just involved in whatever the cooking process is. So
steak is awesome. And I'm curious though, I didn't learn about steak on a butter to help it cook until I was an adult. Is this something that our parents didn't teach us? They didn't do back in the day? Did they not know about this?
I don't know, man, but it's a game changer.
It really is.
A game changer.
Yeah. Awesome. What's your favorite thing to eat then? So if steak's your favorite thing to cook, does that correlate to favorite thing to eat? Or is there something that your wife, Kate, cooks up that you just can't get enough of? Or
Kate is an awesome baker. She makes cakes and brownies, and she's really good at baking, and I'm terrible at baking. I prefer to do the food side of things. So if we cook, or if we want to go all out, she'll typically take care of the dessert after stuff, and I'll do the entrees and stuff. So awesome. It works out. Everybody wins.
A great match, a great pairing.
Yeah.
Hey, let's just get to know you a little bit with the superhero question. We'll love to hearing about Jeremiah's favorite superhero, or maybe we didn't. But what's your favorite superhero and why? What drew you to that particular hero?
I haven't read comics in a long time, but I'm a huge fan of story. So the more elements that paint a picture of a particular character draws me to them a lot. So it kind of shifts who I feel like I can identify with most or that I can resonate with as far as characters go. But I think it's Cable from the X-Men.
I've seen him in movies, I think.
Yeah. They're using that one Ryan Reynolds movie or something. Something like that. I really like his character. He's this whole time traveling, go to the future, past, protect the timeline type of stuff. He's a really, I like it.
Is that the same guy that Jeremiah said?
It is, and I ripped him off. I told
X-Man and Cable and Fred, whatever.
Yeah, there's all they're all kind of intertwined, and they may or may not be the same person depending on what issue you read.
Okay, so some people are going to hear this and be like, "What's wrong with Superman or Batman?" Or no one's picking these Captain America.
Too vanilla. It's got to be more of a deep cut.
But you had to start younger than that, right? You had to have Captain America as your favorite as a kid, but then as
for sure, yeah.
It's like steak butter, right? It's like
you got to work up to it.
Yeah, awesome. You're obviously a musician. What's your favorite song right now?
Ooh, Beyond the Pines by Thrice. Just quality music, good songwriting. I really like how the lyrics are structured and the way that ideas are communicated, and it's just really solid, really good stuff.
So somebody's going to Google Thrice after this interview. Will they be surprised at what they hear?
Maybe that their earlier albums are very hard metal, screamy, weird punk vibes, and then they kind of transitioned at some point, or the last couple albums, to more alternative I don't know. It's heavy stuff. It's pretty.
So give them a try, like earlier stuff, but then also listen to their newer stuff. And they might even be surprised that Dustin Kensrue writes a lot of the songs that we even sing on Sunday mornings, right?
Yeah, he had a worship band for a while. Yeah, we sing a lot of his songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool. So you, I understand it, as we film this now on April 2nd, you would have been in Disneyland right now. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's your favorite ride at Disneyland, and what do you miss the most about not being there, aside from the weather?
Like what I was most excited about was building a lightsaber. It was going to go like the whole 9 yards, and you have to like reserve your spot. And
would you have built a Sith lightsaber or a Jedi lightsaber?
I was really hoping they had yellow. I don't know if they had the color yellow, but that's what I was going to do.
Yeah. So
nerd out hard.
Nerd out hard. Yeah. Build some lightsabers, see Star Wars land, eat a giant turkey leg.
That was the plan.
So as a worship pastor, what's your favorite guitar that you, what was your first guitar you ever had, first of all? And then maybe what's your favorite guitar right now?
First guitar I ever had was a beat up Yamaha. I'm trying to remember how I got my hands on it, but I remember specifically it was a Yamaha because it was better than what I deserved to be like my first guitar. I ended up selling it. But yeah, I remember being very thankful for that specific guitar that I learned on, because so many people pick up guitar because they want to learn, but they buy a really bad one. And it a lot of times will discourage people from pursuing farther the skill of playing because they think they're really bad because they never sound good. It's not their fault. It's the terrible guitar.
Yeah. Reminds me of Jeremiah. His first guitar was a Gremlin. Never heard of it.
Guitar. It was just top of the line. You can't be better than that.
One of my first guitars was a Texarkana. I've never heard of it.
I don't even know what that is. I'm pretending like I do. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a Gremlin. It's like you never heard of it. Just Texarkana. I think it's between Texas and Arkansas, if that's even a thing. Like it's a city near there.
Okay.
Very bad. Very bad. When did you start leading worship?
I think I was 15 or 16. Okay. It was high school somewhere. Yeah. It's one of those things where I was in bands playing and started going to this youth group, and the dude that was leading quit. I can't remember what happened, but it was like, hey, you play music, lead worship now. And I just like, you got drafted, and that's how that all started.
Yeah. And then what was the timeline between learning the guitar and being comfortable enough to be playing the guitar in front of people, but also leading songs in front of people? Like how long ago? Or how long is the gap?
Like from when I started playing guitar and stuff?
Yeah, like if somebody wanted to pick up the guitar today, if they, had 2 months of self-quarantined, they had time, like how long do you think, could they come out after 2 months and actually start leading and playing, or what would you recommend?
Oh, you could definitely play, for sure. 2 months. I mean, I taught myself how to play guitar. Took a long time, but back when I was young, we didn't have YouTube, and we didn't have like all of this digital content that we got now. Like people got it easy nowadays. I'm listening to CDs and trying to like figure out the chords and stuff. 2 months, easy. Yeah, you could totally do that for sure.
What's a funny worship fail? If you could think back of like, oh, if I could do that over again, or if I could just wipe that out of existence, like what's a funny worship fail for you?
There's a lot of them. And
what's the best?
I was thinking about it. I was like, probably the best one. I was leading at a church, and the song was Your Love Never Fails. I can't remember who did it. Your love never fails. It starts with like an electric guitar, like a power chord riff. And I was on electric, and so I'm doing the power chord riff, and it was like super ambient, like the stage was blacked out and there was a light on me and room's full, and doing the chord, the riff line, but I forgot that I had a capo on. So it sounded really good when I started, like, cause it was just the guitar and there was no other elements to know that it was not in the right key. The drummer comes in, click, click, click. And then I hit the big distortion drive to go into power chord. And it was just like,
so bad.
Just train wreck, because everyone else is playing in a different key.
So what do you do at that point? Do you like stop playing, take your cape off while they keep playing, or does the whole band stop?
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Luckily,
run that again.
the band just kept going, and I knew exactly what I did wrong. And
Uh-huh.
so I, like, after the nasty chord that I played, I like muted it with my hand and ripped the capo off, and then just kept going. But
Recovered.
It was like everybody in the room. It's kind of like, oh, that's a fun sound.
You know, sometimes those are nice though, because it shows that the band members are human.
Oh yeah.
Times sure. Like we look at them as professionals and like, man, I wish I could sing like that or play like that. And then when that happens, it's kind of like, oh, let's just worship God. Let's talk about let's talk a little bit about you and your past and how you felt called to be a pastor. Do you remember kind of when that started taking shape, when you felt called to be a pastor and a worship pastor specifically?
Yeah, I think I view those as kind of two separate things. The pastoral trajectory, and then specifically the avenue that I chose to pursue being music and worship. Growing up, I had a lot of people go out of their way to really love on me and take care of me and step in and shepherd and mentor me. And I had no idea that that's what they were doing. I just knew that they were taking me to Taco Bell and you know what I mean? And just investing in me. I thought they just wanted to hang out, but in retrospect, they were very intentional about it. But one of those guys that I'm talking about, he really encouraged me to apply for Bible school. And that was kind of out of left field. And I humored this guy and applied, and I got in. But not only did I get in, it was like every single barrier that was set up for me to go to college, specifically this Bible college, was taken out of the way. And it was like God just was knocking down doors, like, even though I was half-heartedly, kind of like reluctantly attempting to go based off of input from one of my mentors. I remember thinking that first semester while studying the Bible and stuff, that if I could be a fraction, a small percentage of what these people did for me for anybody else, nothing else would be worth my time. So in that pastoral capacity, like, how can I love well? How can I push people to look more like Jesus and encourage them and strengthen their relationship with the hope that I found? So that was kind of the catalyst for why I got into ministry in the first place. Always been into music, songwriting, and playing in bands and stuff. And so when I can do the pastoral thing that I'm really passionate about, but also combine that with my other love being music, it's just a win-win. Like, I couldn't be happier that I'm allowed to do what I'm doing, and I have the opportunity to do what I'm doing.
To have the people in your life that God placed there is really encouraging. It's like, you're not alone in that, where we build into people as pastors, hoping that they could live well and love well, as you say, learn what that looks like and how to live that out. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
In your past, as you continue your walk with God, like, what are some of the things you have done in your life that have helped you grow in your faith?
One of the things that I think that has grown me the most personally, and it's not something that'll necessarily work for everybody. It might just be because I'm a weird creative type, but when I write, I typically try and be very disciplined about writing, whether it's once a day, try and set aside some time after I read the Bible or if I'm studying, really soaking and meditating on a concept. So at any point in time, for example, a lot of the songs that I'd written over the past couple months revolve around hope. This idea of what is hope, and so it's kind of like a word study almost, except I color it with music, and how can I phrase this concept differently, or how can I communicate what this means to me, or what it means to the church, or what it means to my family, or whatever that looks like. Just how many different creative ways can I express this through song in my quiet times? And it gets in your heart, man. It gets in your head when you're mulling over it. For me, it's more holistic than just reading something, because it's in my brain and I'm feeling it and I'm wrestling with it. And not only that, but trying to articulate it in different ways has been huge for me. And God's spoken to me in very profound ways when I am intentional about those times.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's expressed through Harbor Hymnal. Can you tell us a little bit about that, like Harbor Hymnal? And that's kind of the way you're expressing those songs. Is that right?
Yeah, it's definitely an outflow of that for sure. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Harbor Hymnal is always just kind of been it's turned into something else. The original intent for it was I've always had this pipe dream of unifying churches to all collaboratively write songs and share them. And the idea being like, how awesome if all up and down the West Coast, we had a network of churches sharing songs, and we're all singing each other's songs, and we're all, hey, this is what my church is going through, and this is what musically has come out of this season. Like, let it bless you and bless your people. So I've achieved that on a smaller scale. There's about 4 or 5 churches that I'm working with their music people, and we'll, if I'm writing something or if they're writing something, they'll shoot a text out or they'll record it on their phone or something. And so we're bouncing ideas off each other all the time. I've got like 5 Google Docs of like collaborative, like we're writing the song together, like and sharing the ideas back and forth.
That's really cool.
So that was the idea. It's much smaller scale. I think I was just super ambitious, and I assumed everybody wanted to do something like that, and maybe not. That's not the case. But Harbor Hymnal, it's really cool the amount of talent that God has brought to believers in our church, Believers Fellowship, and it's just an opportunity to create a platform for our talent to be utilized to bless the church, and not only that, but to grow in our craft as musicians, as songwriters. Yeah.
That's really cool. When you write songs, worship songs, do you imagine what maybe the team around you would be doing during that? Or is it just you and acoustic guitar, and then let them decide if you were to record an album, like let them decide what they want to do? Or what's
sometimes.
That like in your head?
Yes, and sometimes. Yeah, it's just, I mean, I'm very collaborative when it comes to music, and I never want to be the general, do this, do it my way. I try to be open-handed about that stuff, and I think that's one of the cool things about music is that everybody gets to be involved, and it's better to usually when multiple people put in their 2 cents. And like making a stew, I'm throwing in potatoes, someone else is throwing in carrots, and it'd be better than if it was just a
we all know you're throwing in steak.
Yeah, that's right.
Throw some butter in there too.
Healthy amounts.
Awesome. Hey, so during this next few weeks, is there a verse that you have been meditating on that maybe we can hide in our heart as well? Something that we can memorize to help us grow and have it come to our mind immediately when we need it?
Yeah. What's been on my heart, I've got it here on my phone because I knew you were going to ask this question. It's Colossians chapter 3, verse 16. And that says, "Let the message of Christ dwell among you richly as you teach and admonish one another with all wisdom through psalms, hymns, and songs from the Spirit, singing to God with gratitude in your hearts." And that particular verse strikes me because we're in a season of isolation and we're in a season of quarantine. So what does it look like to encourage one another with songs and hymns? And what does it look like to let that truth of God dwell in you and let it transform you when oftentimes a lot of what we do is, as far as our modern churches, is we gather together and we sing together in the same room, and it's this experience. So that doesn't make this truth of this verse any less real, because our ability to do what we're used to has changed. As far as our anthems moving forward collectively, I just really hope that we're encouraged to pursue Christ even more and delve deeper into what the truth of Christ is and what the meaning of the gospel is for us. And
Shawn, we see you up on Sundays, most Sundays, leading us in worship. Thank you for what you do in collaborating and working with what God has given you and the talent around you to provide us an opportunity to come in before God, come into his presence and worship him. So thank you so much for bringing levity to our quarantine, but also bringing some opportunities to leverage this time. So we appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Johnny.